why customer lifetime value is so critical to e-commerce, right? It's the lifeblood of e-commerce, wouldn't you say? It's everything, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's something, especially with younger e-commerce businesses, that's something that they haven't really figured out for themselves yet. And even when you're starting out, it's so important to have that lifetime value in mind from the very beginning so that you're already collecting the stats. You know, before you have anything, you don't want to suddenly wake up 10 years down the road and say, oops, I haven't been collecting any data. You know?
We've seen that. Yep.
So I know a lot of young business owners think that lifetime value is not important for them to think about yet, but it really is important from the very beginning.
Very much. That's a good point. They can't just wake up one day and say, oh yeah, I do want to focus on lifetime value. Oh, where's your data? Yeah. Oh man, we definitely have seen those cases. So why is LTV so critical for e-commerce brands right now? Well, bunch of reasons. We'll go through some of the top ones, right? Number one, we have this basic Pareto principle, right? 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts, right? When you apply it to e-commerce, 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers, right? So it makes sense to focus on your best customers because majority of revenue will come from those customers, right?
Right.
So it's just a much more efficient way of looking at your marketing. And when you focus on those customers, your business is, like I said, more profitable, predictable, and sustainable. That's going to be the major key. Another reason is, and Javi, you probably know this answer pretty well, there's an own channel versus a borrow channel. Owning your customers is so important, right?
Right. And now I know this can be a confusing point to a lot of people when we talk about owning, you know, our customers. We're talking, of course, about data, about whether you'll be able to reach them again, if you'll be able to access and see how they're interacting with your brand, with your digital assets. And because those really, that's how you're going to figure out the lifetime value. That's how you're going to increase the lifetime value. It's how you're going to, again, build that relationship like we talked about. So it's very important taking into account that you have your own channels, that you're tracking your data from the very beginning. You know, get those pixels on your websites, even if you're not doing paid ads yet. You know, they're just set up so that you're collecting your data, so that you own your data and you have it when you need it.
Yes. Oh man, owning the data, that should also be changed. Not just owning customers, owning the data, right? That's so critical. And you borrow it from, I mean, you'll probably talk about this, you know, with the iOS 15 change or the Facebook algorithm always changing, or all these all these data points are constantly evolving. Owning it is so critical. Another reason is customer loyalty is focused on convenience for the most part, especially with e-commerce brands. A lot of customers love convenience. And when you're up against Amazon, who is the king of convenience, they always have a leg up, right? So if they always have a leg up, well, you need to focus on how to get that loyalty that you just can't compete with. So focusing on what your customers are most interested in, how to get them to be more loyal to you is so important. And that only comes out of examining your LTV. It's not just let's get this new buyer to spend money, and this buyer to spend money, and this buyer to spend money. It's more about how do you keep a customer loyal to you and not just jumping off to Amazon. And you may want it, and you sell on Amazon, but it's much more profitable to sell it directly. Right. But
usually if you're selling on Amazon and your website, it's because you really have no choice and you have to be selling on Amazon, yeah, exactly. But you'd rather it be coming from your site.
Yes, of course. That's exactly it. Amazon's was holding you hostage, and like they attribute so much, a huge amount of your revenue, and you're like, I can't break free. A lot of brands are like that. But the number one reason for why LTV is so important is that 75% of e-commerce buyers stay one-time buyers, right?
That is so sad. I just want to stop for a second and make sure everyone heard that, because that is so shockingly sad. Just think about how hard you work to get every single customer in the door, on your shop, on your site. By the time you get them, one purchase and they're gone.
Right. It's inefficient, right? You're happy. We got that momentary like high where you're like, wow, got my buyer, amazing, I'm so excited. But then, as my mom always used to say, everyone will try something once, right? We all know that. We'll all try something, but to have 75% gone, just very demoralizing. And then you're constantly in chase mode.
And then you have these people like my father who shop so often online. You say, well, what shop did you get this from? And they don't even remember anymore.
Right. That's how it is. Yeah. Lack of loyalty, lack of brand recognition, just brand recall is gone. So, and that's terrible to know that looking at your list right now, looking at your customers, 75% of them maybe just, gone forever. They bought once and gone. And then to top that off, there's also, you can go even deeper, right? 80% of holiday buyers will not convert into non-holiday buyers, right? During Black Friday season, during the Q4, everyone huge jump.
Put so much budget into their holiday campaigns. Imagine if that marketing budget was working for you all year long as well, and not just for that holiday campaign.
Exactly. Yeah, you could focus it. You could expand it. You can focus on just making sure that they keep coming in quarter after quarter after quarter instead of just one and done, right? And then I'll compound it even more. 50% of those sales are actually made on promotion or markdown. So even if you do win them one time, it's still not profitable, right? You've still maybe broke even. In some cases, maybe even lost money, depending on how you're going after it. So in majority of customers are just not, you see this guy right here with the one bag, they're just not being nurtured to repeat sales. And this is why CLV is so critical, right? Because if you have one and done buyers, well, guess what? Everyone's going to have one and done buyers, and they're going to go to shop somewhere else every single time. That's going to be inefficient for your brand. So that's why it's so critical. If you think about
it, like, to me, it just breaks my heart because they bought from you. So you know that they're your target audience. You know that they find value in what you're selling, and you know that they, managed to work through your site enough to actually do what you want everyone to do when they're on the site, which is purchase. So it's like, yes, great. No, where are you going? Come back.
Right. Where'd you go? I thought we had a good relationship, right? You ghosted me.
Right? Yeah. It's like getting a marriage proposal and then he walks right off.
That's right. It's not a relationship for either side, and it's such a shame. Very sad to say. So if we can understand it's so critical